What's up, everyone? I am TokuTylor, and today we will be talking episode 13 of Lupinranger vs. Patoranger. This episode was another good one. I enjoyed this episode a lot. The plot of it is something I knew would eventually happen. You know, a Lupinranger and a Patoranger being like stuck together. In this one, it happens to be chains, but it's, they would be stuck together and they would have to deal with it to overcome their differences and be freed. But anyway, it's a pretty good episode. It is another filler, but it is a pretty good episode. I will say that. So, on to the review. This episode begins at the global police base, and Tsukasa is not there. As it turns out, she has the day off because with fighting the ganglers and everything, she's been working through her off time, her days off and everything. So, she decides to go to an amusement park to obtain a special stuffed animal. It's like this rally thing they're doing to get these stuffed animals. And we know how much Tsukasa loves plushies. So, anyway, the Lupin Rangers go through the same thing with Umika. So, Umika shows up at the same place Tsukasa does. They don't know that they're both doing the same thing, and it's really funny how they meet up at the ticket booth. It's so funny, but they are after the same things, the plushies. So they team up to get them. They go on rides, they play games, but the last thing to do is a haunted house. And Tsukasa is terrified of them, even though Umika points out she literally fights monsters in real life. So I found that kind of funny. I'm afraid of haunted houses as well, but it's it's a fun thing to see Tsukasa like this and not the usual tough lady cop. So it's cool. While in the haunted house, Tsukasa being scared reminds Umika of her friend Shihochin, but I'm gonna refer to her as Umika's friend, the friend who was frozen, and she's trying to get her back by collecting the Lupin collection and everything. But Umika gives Tsukasa a hug after Tsukasa freaks out after a jump scare. She hugs her to make her feel better. So then a gangler appears, a female gangler that has this sort of rivalry with Goshu, which is a little thing. I don't know. It's not much to it. They just don't like each other. But she creates a barrier around the entire amusement park using her collection item, I think. But yeah, she makes this barrier around the whole park so no one can get in and no one can get out. And then while in the haunted house, Umika talks about her friend and that the stuffed animal she wants was something her friend loved. So she's not just doing this to get a stuffed animal, she's doing it to get something that her friend really cared about, and just to remember her friend and everything. It's really nice. It's not just like Tsukasa who just loves stuffed animals. So that's a nice moment. Soon after that, they encounter the gangler in the haunted house. Tsukasa runs after it, and Umika grabs a new costume disguise because she doesn't have her thief disguise. She wasn't expecting, a gangler to show up like this. So she puts like a pirate coat on, her usual yellow mask, and she like messes up her hair, puts some lipstick on. It's very detailed, I'm sorry. But so she gets a disguise and everything. They transform separately, obviously, and fight the gangler. But while the Rangers fight, the gangler chains them together by the arms and everything, and they are knocked out of their transformations. So they work together to get away to another part of the haunted house to basically come up with a strategy of how they're going to get through this. And while this is happening, the other Patourangers show up because they were Tsukasa called them while she was fighting the gangler. They show up, but they can't get through the barrier. They try shooting it and everything, and it's not working. And Umika, still in disguise, and Tsukasa try to break the chains by shooting it and everything. But they then figure out that maybe only the gangler's weapons can do it, can destroy the chains. So they have a little bit of a moment there. They get serious because they know they're in a situation and they just have to deal with being chained together, and they just have to get through this basically. So Tsukasa has hurt her leg a little bit, so when she tries to get up, she kind of falls down. But she then has this serious moment about her being able to bear the physical pain, to bear the pain as long as she can beat the ganglers. Basically, she's talking about how the ganglers have left so many victims in their path, and they and Tsukasa wants to put an end to it. More than the usual. She's a cop sort of thing. I get this feeling that maybe there's some secret about her past connected to why she became, you know, a Patoranger. She joined the global police for some reason other than just protect and serve. So I think there's something there. That's just my guess. I don't know, but anyway, the Patorangers finally break through the barrier with some help from the Lupinrangers. The Lupin Red equips the Cyclone Dial Fighter. At the same time, they have the Biker trigger machine, and they both shoot at the same time, and it makes this combined attack, which is so cool. And at the last second, Tsukasa says, or no, Sakia says helicopter, and then they look back, and I love how red and blue just jump off the Pots Rangers masks. It's just so funny. I love that moment. It's so rude, too. Plus, like I said, when they combined Biker and Cyclone, it made me think the vehicles were meant to work together because it was almost like a perfect sort of blast. It was like this perfect sphere. It was just really cool. So maybe that's a hint that the vehicles aren't meant to be used in two different teams. Maybe they're supposed to be used together. So that's another thought to think about. So anyway, the girls, Tsukasa and Umika, they face the Gangler again, and they trick her into cutting the chains as planned. So they make her really angry, and then the Gangler just tries to hit them with this scythe weapon, and they pull the chains out, and she cuts the chains off, and then they blast her, and it's really cool. Really fun moment. They transform and fight. Then there's a moment during the fight where Yellow uses Sango as a shield to block an attack. And I'm like, really, Umika? Really? You were starting to be friends, and this is what you're gonna do? Tsukasa takes the hit, the attack, but when the Gangler least expects it, Tsukasa shoots her from behind, thus allowing Yellow to grab the collection piece from the Gangler's back safe. It's some sort of cylinder thing. I don't really know what the item is, but it was all a setup. When during the fight, Yellow slipped her mask into Sango's suit in order to deflect the Gangler's attack. Like earlier, I didn't mention it, but earlier in the fight, Umika's mask protected her when it almost hit her in the face, the weapon. So it deflected it. So putting it in Sango's suit deflected the attack and made it look like she was hit. After the explanation of the plan, Lupin Red destroys the Gangler with the blade boomerang. I swear, that weapon is so OP. I swear, he just throws it and instantly destroys the Gangler. It's such an awesome weapon. So, anyway, to Goshu reluctantly shows up to revive her rival, and we get an interesting fight with Lupin Kaiser because they equip the Cyclone Dial Fighter, and it's good to see it again. It's a nice callback to the fact that they have this other vehicle that they can use, and to lift her up with that vortex attack, and then they finish her off by equipping the Scissors and Blade vehicles to fly up and do the hack 'em up slash. So they used both vehicles in the same fight, and it's really cool. I love Lupin Kaiser so much. The combinations and the attacks are just so fun. So really cool battle. And I will say this review is going very quick, I think. But anyway, we then end at the bistro where Tsukasa is glad Umika is safe and sound and everything. And then Umika shows her the stuffed animals they won. She actually went back and got two of the stuffed animals they won, and she gives it to Tsukasa, and she opens it up and everything, and it's not the one she wanted. There were two plushies. There was the Fluffy Pan, which is basically a panda with a bread loaf shaped head, which I thought was cute. But apparently she was looking at another one, which was called Pork Tato, which is basically a pig with a potato head. Um, that's the one she wanted. And Umika's like, you have some weird tastes. And yeah, she does. So after all that, she didn't even get the plushie she wanted. And it's just, that's a funny ending. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it, I guess. But personally, I liked the Fluffy Pan one. It was really cool because I love pandas. So final thoughts on this episode. It was great. I liked it. It's another great episode for the series, even though it was another filler, but it's probably the best filler so far. There wasn't really any main story to it. We're going to get that in the next one with a new arrival and everything, but it was a good episode. It was nice to see the female rangers hang out. They grew a little closer. They didn't really know each other outside of the bistro or anything, so it was nice. And even though Umika was clearly just wearing a little yellow mask, Tsukasa had no idea it was her. I still find that funny. I mean, Tsukasa was smart enough to see the similarities between the thieves and the bistro trio or the Jurere trio, but she still can't see past the mask. It's so weird, but it's fine. Still, I'd take this episode over the gender swapping one. To be honest, that one was still weird. It's a fine episode, but yeah, that one was still weird, and I just think this one's the best one so far, with the fillers and everything, non-story, but really cool. So, thank you guys for listening to my babbling. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell to be notified of future videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.